Hello, Moussa.
No.
I'm
Hello.
adding Nadia and Richard too. But I think, okay, Richard, I don't know if you can hear us, but your device is not connected. I can read. And Nadia, we still don't have your camera, but if you can manage this connection, please do. But don't worry if you can't.
Okay.
You speak, and we'll hear you very well. We just can't see your face. It's it's sad, but one day maybe with James. So hello everyone. So good evening. I'm Anaïs from Cardashift for the 6th AMA, 7th AMA, sorry, of our 10 project of Bet Genesis. So tonight we are hosting Mayyan with Moussa and Nadia. And so we'll host this AMA session as every evening with a first part in English during an hour, and then with a shorter French session for the Frenchies, where you will be able to ask any question. So to make things clear, you can ask any question at any moment in the chat. Please raise any question, even if you don't know the. I have an email. Okay. Ask any question in the chat, and we'll answer. Musa will answer, Nadia too. But first, just to start, so I'm Anaïs, and I'm with Adam.
Hi, everyone. Yeah.
Shift, and we'll host the station together. And I will let Musa and Nadia introduce themselves, and Mayyan especially, in a few sentences, a few minutes.
Sure. Nadia can start.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Nadia. I usually go by Nadia E. I'm an engineer and designer from Stockholm, Sweden, but with roots in Ethiopia, Sudan, and a bunch of other places. This is the second startup for me. The other one is called Edge Riders. It's a company that does computational social science. And I'm super excited to jump on board Moussa project. And yeah, I think it's very promising.
So hey everyone. So I'm Moussa, the founder of Mayyan. And I will probably introduce myself quickly. So I'm a former employee from multiple companies. I would say Microsoft or Varonis, two of them, mainly cybersecurity. And just 1 year ago, I just found Mayyan. So just to give you like an introduction on the project and what's going on. So Mayyan is a search engine that aims to transform every search into social impact by investing 30% of the revenues to NGOs that tackle sustainable development goals in Africa. That's our goal. And here we are to ask your question.
Amazing.
Okay. Amazing, thanks. I repeat for the ones that just arrived, please feel free to ask any question to Musa and Nadia, to Mayyan team at any moment in the chat. We'll answer them. We're waiting for a question. And while you are typing, we can start with some questions on all sides. I can start with one, and maybe Adam, you will have one too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I will start with a question about the project itself, about the story behind the project. How did it start? Where did the idea come from? Can you tell us a bit, Misa?
Definitely. So basically, that's funny because I was thinking about creating a startup, not this one, Mayyan, and that one was a failure. So let's say that we say that the story starts with a failure. on like an IT consulting company that I was supposed to create with two other guys. And that was a failure actually. And I was still working for Microsoft at this time. And then I was like, literally, I love this type of idea and energy that we have inside of entrepreneurship or creating everything from scratch. I was literally happy to draw idea on Kanban board and whiteboard and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, this is amazing, and that's really what I want to do. So I literally start by coding the project first of all, but my code wasn't that good. And Risha with us, Ken told us. So I started by just thinking about an idea that a search engine can be created with a social impact. So I definitely search on the market, what's going on, and see other project mature. And I was like, okay, this business model exists. It is not really mature at the point that I would like to, but something exists, something, an idea like have been created. Someone have think about it, and that was very, first of all, good to know, because people were definitely on the market, literally looking for something like a sort of sense in impact-driven mission, or like an easy way to impact the planet and the environment and the people. And that's it for my side. So I started on thinking about Mayyan in Africa, because I literally have a link with Africa, definitely. And I was always looking for like a sort of things to impact the African continent. So I started by creating the project, the business model, how question myself about how I'm going to make money, how I'm going to donate to people and to companies. And I started writing the code of the project. And then Richard joined me, and he saw the code and he was like, what the hell? Because I'm not a good coder, but Richard is. So he definitely took everything from scratch with me, and we definitely designed all the thing. And then here we go. Now we hit 1 million search.
Clap, clap.
Yeah,
clap, clap.
amazing. Congrats.
Okay. I can continue with one question. You just mentioned Richard. We have here Nadia, and we have you, Moussa. So basically, can you introduce the chat, all the team, and could you detail how did you meet, basically?
Yeah. On the chat, or you want me to tell here?
To tell here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Sure. No worry. So basically, I met Richard through the school. So basically, it was at Epitech school, like software engineering school in France. And at that time, I was like literally interviewing, I think, 5 people. And there is one thing that was very funny about Richard during our interview. He was asking a lot of questions. And at this time, I was thinking, okay, Richard, do you want to create the same project like me? And I was like, okay, so you probably have to join me on this adventure. So literally, it was at school, and I was looking for like an internship. It was like literally since 3 or 4 months that he was looking for a project, an internship. I think when I hired him, it was like 2 weeks before the deadline. So it was very, very short for him. And so I met him, and then I literally onboarded him as an intern, first of all. Then he became my apprentice during 1 year, and now he became a shareholder of the company. So yeah, good trust, good work, and trusting, definitely. And Nadia, so I met Nadia because of someone working at the World Bank tell me that, Moussa, you need to meet Nadia, because she's literally very, very good at impact project and computational subject. And I was like, okay. So I flew to Belgium, I think 2 weeks after, and I met Nadia straightforward. And then we had a workshop in Belgium, which was amazing because she asked a lot of questions. And I was like, okay, I don't have all the questions, so please join me and start work with me. That's the story behind.
Yeah, I have to say I was very skeptical initially because I've heard, so it's like the 10th year I'd been running my own company and then running fairly large scale projects for the World Bank and the UN, and done a lot of work in the region, like and beyond, with disaster relief and response and so on. and my threshold like is very, very, very high. I thought that the project has potential because of the person behind it, and because Moussa is open and thinks and is quite humble. And I think this is, in tech, this is exceedingly rare, especially if you're working with vulnerable communities and people who are much more experienced than you with like working on hard things on the ground, hard challenges. You really need to be a humble person. And so, yeah, this is why I jumped on board. I have other things I could be putting my time on, actually, like many, but I think it's worthwhile.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, great. So
Sounds
nice
great.
to see how you met, and how Mayyan, in fact, evolved with you. I think that it's time to begin to take some questions. So we had one already 10 minutes ago, but, from Lil Doring, saying that isn't there already dozens of browser? And I think that we can detail on this question. In fact, why are you different from this?
Yep.
You answer.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, Hildering. Actually, I think we discussed on the Discord, and that's a very good question. So first thing, there is 1,000 of search engine and browser. First thing, there is not a lot of browser, but there is a lot of search engine. All right.
Okay.
But the thing is, we need to talk about how those browser are different, and how those search engine are different. There is not a lot of search engine or browser with impact-driven technology. That's the first thing. There is a lot of browser which are broad. Literally, you're looking for something and you found this thing and that's it. So the relationship between you and the browser is just only finding the result that you want. And the difference between those browser or search engine and social impact driven browser and search engine is definitely what we do after with this money. And during that, actually, even during that process of searching on the search engine. So the difference is literally there. Then when I'm looking at what we are trying to achieve on the market, there is a ton of Web 2 browser and search engine, but there is not a lot of Web 3 browser and search engine, which is actually the direction that we want to go.
Okay. So maybe yeah, I think that he came back with the same but differently toned questions. I think we answered also this one. Maybe can you just detail? It's on my side, but can you detail a bit? He was saying that there was two type of browser and search engine, like usual ones and impact-driven ones. But how in the impact-driven ones are you differentiate yourself? Because you can think about clearly Ecosia or some others. What are you focusing on? What are you different from these ones?
Yep. So there is one thing. When it comes to Ecosia, first of all, Ecosia is mainly focused on planting tree, which is not empowering non-profit organization actually, because they are doing in-house project. So they are using the money from advertising for their own company and own social driven project. So they are going on the ground with partner to plant tree, which is different than empowering non-profit organization. Then there is Lilo, which is the French one. And this search engine is focused only on France, actually French market, which is good actually, because we need a search engine everywhere. And Mayyan is mainly focused on Africa. This is the difference that we have between all the search engine. And then there is Ocean Hero, which is focused on bottle in the ocean. So it's like taking back those bottles in the ocean. And yeah, this is the difference between the search engine that we probably have, and then the Web3 that is coming on Mayyan probably very soon.
Okay, great.
I don't know if Nadia can add something on it, who would want to add something, but I think we're good.
Okay. I'm seeing some questions about impact.
Yeah, I think we'll deep dive in this just after. Yeah, Adam, you was
I just have a question about the NGOs you are funding, you are investing in, or you are giving money to. Basically, how do you choose the NGOs? How are you choosing these NGOs, and why are you investing in these NGOs?
yeah,
Investing.
and
So
takes the question in the chat.
Oh, yeah,
Perfect.
it was the first question of the chat.
so the approach we're taking is an ecosystems one,
Okay.
right? Where I've seen a lot of initiatives that take a silver bullet approach towards a very complex social problem. If we take something like getting medication, high quality medication to communities that wouldn't otherwise access them. Why are people not accessing them? Well, maybe because there's a lot of fake medication on the market, or that it's past its best before date, or because people are very far away from areas where they can pick up where they stock the medication, or because they're too poor to take a bus to go and pick them up, or they're too sick, right? So with this challenge, you need to work with a number of different NGOs that each is covering a part of the chain of interlinked issues. And you need to work with them to align their processes, their KPIs even. You need to also work on how you equip them to be able to work quite efficiently with each other. And you need a funding mechanism that understands that the last mile is always chaotic and emergent, right? Because people read the situation and they adapt. And so you need a funding model that is capable of giving cash where it's necessary, right? It's so the ecosystems approach, and then also understanding that people who are in the situation best understand the conditions and best know how to solve them. We're just there to support with some infrastructure and some resources. Ultimately, it's about power, right?
Okay. Okay, that's pretty clear, and it made me jump perfectly on a question I say that is a bit focusing on giving money or doing something else, but you're talking about giving infrastructure and resources, etc. Whereas just in your presentation, we can understand that you are giving back 30% of your shares to NGOs that you will choose, just as you said. But are you doing something beyond giving money? Like I don't know, maybe just talk with them or help them in
Advise them.
different way.
Yeah, so we're building our approach towards supporting impact in a lot of it on my experience on having done anthropological research with thousands and thousands of people who are doing impact work on the ground, where people were sharing experiences with each other of trying to do very difficult things, what challenges they were coming across. And this was in an institutional context, right, and academic research. So we have a good idea of where the challenges are that people are faced with in practice. And some of the support is in terms of connecting people with people in our network who have hands-on experience, social capital, have access to more resources, and so on. The other is in helping people digitize. And when we say digitize in this setting, like people are thinking about super advanced stuff, but it's not. Sometimes it's just like helping people set up their information infrastructure, right? Something that for most of us in this room is super easy. We don't even think about it, right? So it's a flexible and really listening approach towards supporting people, besides the money is like very, very important.
Yeah,
But
completely.
yeah.
Yeah, you could have told me that you were just giving money. Interesting to deep dive, like you just did. Interesting.
I just have a question about this to give an overview of your activities and of your activity basically. Could you give us some figures about how many NGOs did you fund? How many people did you help, for instance?
Yep. So for now, we just started to select those nonprofit organizations.
Okay.
So we definitely have selected 2 of them, but we are definitely looking to analyze more of them. As Nadia was just saying, it's just not giving money because you can give money to a company that is like a nonprofit organization that is based in London and that will never do something in Africa or just do a small things in Africa. So we definitely have to figure it out about the risk. So we would like to have nonprofit organizations that are literally now on the ground with KPI, with metrics, and with already impact-driven project that they have already done. So we got the funding process in progress, and we would love to fund the first nonprofit organization in July. That's the thing. That's the point that we have. That's the timeline and the deadline that we have, July. So we definitely have to wait for like just finish the framework on impact-driven mission for those companies and nonprofit organizations. And Nadia is doing a perfect job on this one, and we would love to analyze those nonprofit organizations very well from 100%, definitely, because the first donation is the most important.
Indeed.
Well, this is ongoing. I've been running workshops with humanitarian diaspora networks, understanding what challenges they're facing and how they're working with humanitarian response organizations on the ground in Sudan, in Haiti as well, Syria, but specifically Sudan, and really understanding, okay, where can what Mayyan offers be adapted to actually meet the challenges that they're facing.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Perfect. We can take a question about your project and the search engine. Basically, I think Yellowing is asking something quite interesting on the fact that basically search engines are suffering from ad block widget, something like that.
Yeah.
Basically, how do you plan to counter this evolution of basically? Yeah.
So there is 2 things. First thing, the ad blocker market adoption is not that big. That's the thing. When we are looking at how many people use an ad blocker on Mayyan is maybe 1% or 2%, which is very small, right? But this is a very good question. When we are looking at privacy-oriented search engine or browser like DuckDuckGo, that you probably know very well, for those who are really interested in privacy and compliance and stuff like that, they are probably using right now DuckDuckGo. So that's a very good question. And DuckDuckGo actually display a lot of ads, but there is a portion of these ads when you click on it that is definitely not sold to third-party organization. This is actually what we are doing right now with Mayyan. Actually, you can use an ad blocker, but the thing is, when you click on these ads, we are not selling you data. So basically, when you have an ad blocker, is for using Google probably that is actually selling you data to everyone. So the goal of an ad blocker is yes to block all the advertising, but you can use Mayyan without an ad blocker because we are not selling you data. Definitely. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And it made me jump perfectly on this question. How are you going, I think, to protect user data? I think that this one, Adam's questions just introduced it perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. So the next question was, you are going to make money from ads, but how are you going to protect user data, right? So there is 2 things that the Web3 is going to bring on the table, which is actually sharing, first of all, the ad revenue with the user. And second thing, select the data from the user that want to sell on the market, right? So the thing is, if you're a user using a search engine on the Web3, you can say, okay, I want to sell this data and not this one.
Okay.
That's the power of the Web3. And that's why we are going on this way, because the thing is with the Web2 is literally that the ad and all the compliant framework coming from the European Commission, the United States, and stuff like that. Like literally, they are very big, and they are really destroying the ad market. But yeah, that's why we need to move faster than that.
Okay. So yeah, blockchain and Web3 help you a lot in this transparency process. I think very interesting. Just taking this one. Okay, it will be a game for you, Misa, because someone just joined us. What's the project mainly about? Okay, Misa, you have a sentences to describe this. Just one sentence.
Just one sentence? Oh my God.
Okay,
no,
one
kidding. No, it's okay. So, hi, Sporto Crypto 78. Mayyan is a search engine that aims to transform a research into social impact by investing 30% of our revenue into NGOs. I try to do short.
Yeah, it's a sentence. It's only in sentences.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, manage it. And just for you to know, in the chat, you can use the comments. I can show you Mayyan to have their
An overview of what they're doing. Yeah.
what they are doing. Okay, if the bot can you have the description in the Launchpad page, and there also the website Mayyan if you want to see their product. So okay, let's jump on another question. I think that I one on the very interesting about your vision. Again from Lildering. On the technological point of view, what do you think will be I think the next evolutions of browsers and search engines? It's I think a personal opinion is as before.
It is.
We want to give the answer of this question.
Yeah. So on the technology point of view, I would say ultra personalized response. So basically, there is a lot of people that were saying, okay, browser and search engine are dead because most of those people were using Reddit. Why? Because Reddit is literally user centric, saying, okay, I want to follow this subject, I want to move this subject on top of my response answer and other stuff like that. So I literally think that those browser and search engine will definitely move into ultra personalized and user centric answer. That's the first thing. Then the second thing is Web3, like always, for sure. But then I really think that's the evolution. Then there is other use cases that are coming up on search engine and browser, which is 3D visualization of like someone shooting a 3-point on basketball. That you get those kind of innovation that you can already see actually. So yeah, this kind of subject, having the possibility to organize your content in front of your interests and habits and those kind of stuff. I think so. So that's will be for me the next intelligent and next smart move for search engine or browser.
Okay, great to have your opinion on this. And I'm taking the next one. Also, really interesting. Thanks, Drake. Okay, so today, just for as a reminder for everyone, today you are using in the back end. I would like to say, I can say Microsoft. It's is this okay? So you're using Microsoft back end search engine to generate Mayyan as a layer. If I can say this, please correct me if I'm wrong. But just to understand the question, are you planning to maybe one day create your own back end system search engine it's difficult to compete with a Google or a Microsoft Bing or huge competitors in the sector. So I understand completely the idea to begin with a layer, but are you planning on creating your own search engine a day?
That's a very good question from Drake, and actually that's a funny question because I was thinking about this at the start of the search engine, and literally I realized that it was very very big to create some kind of things. So let's take one point. Currently, all the browsers that have created their own, let's say, how do you say it in French? They own search engine and oh my god, algorithm for quantitative search and algorithm and stuff like that. We're using Chromium, all right? So Chromium is the project based on Microsoft. There is Chrome and a little bit of Microsoft, not a lot, but mainly Google people were using Chromium and creating Chromium open source project, right? So Microsoft is using Chromium. Google is using Chromium as a source, and a lot of browsers are using Chromium, right, as a baseline. So there is two things. That's the first thing. So if we want to create our own indexation algorithm, it's just not smart because the sources are currently exist on the Chromium project. That's the first thing. Second thing, the search engine that tried to do it is Quant, and they exist since I think 6 or 7 or 10 years or something like this, and they don't make money since that time, which is not good. So they are not really financially sustainable. That's the thing. So maybe yes, that's the very good question that we can definitely have a ton of developer and software developer to create our own indexation project, but it's not financially sustainable. Then I will take the partnership on DuckDuckGo, which is very interesting point. So basically DuckDuckGo is using Microsoft Bing behind. That's funny because not a lot of people don't know that, but DuckDuckGo is using Bing behind. They don't have their own indexation project and software. Like Quant is using 70% of Microsoft Bing and 30% or 30, maybe 50-50 are their own indexation algorithm. So basically there is no one using their own indexation project, maybe one, which is Ghostery Down, and they are not really, financially sustainable. Same. So yeah, when you're looking at Mayyan on iOS and Android, we have done and used the DuckDuckGo sources. So you will see that the Mayyan on iOS and Android is look like DuckDuckGo. So we are already using it.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay, I didn't know that about DuckDuckGo. And just for everyone to know, thanks to your knowledge, how about Brave? Is Brave an independent search engine, if you can say this, or not? Do you know? Just for
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that Brave just launched their own browser and indexation algorithm. I think it was maybe is very 6 months ago, like maybe this month. I don't know if this one works very well. I just know that most of the people use another search engine as a default because they can choose. They can choose Google, Ecosia, they can choose Quant and other. So I really don't know if the Brave browser indexation algorithm is working. There is one thing that we would love to have with Brave is a partnership as a default search engine on their own, definitely. That's the first thing. For the crypto blockchain use cases, I think we can do better with Cardashift communities. So yeah, we will see.
Yeah, completely. Okay, really interesting.
I'm putting a little bit pressure on Cardashift at the same time. Sorry for that.
We'll see. Okay, I'm going to see what I can do.
If I may add something.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I may add something, it's quite interesting to see your vision of search engine future and your vision of Mayyan future. There is a very interesting question asked by Ladoring in the chat. regarding the environmental footprint of the use of search engine. Basically, because you are funding NGOs, you are maybe funding environmental NGOs, for instance. Is there a risk of a rebound effect? Because you are funding NGOs, maybe people are going to use more search engine to fund more NGOs, and we know also the environmental footprint of the use of search engine. So basically, how are you going to mitigate this risk, and how are you going to deal with this risk?
That's a very good question. I think I will take like half part, and Nadia will take the other part because she got a good idea on this one. But I have like maybe half of the answer. So first thing first, we are using Microsoft being behind, right? So we got the Microsoft commitment to be 0% carbon neutral by 2030, right? So that's the thing. So this is a commitment from Microsoft. So all the Azure region and server used by Microsoft have to be carbon neutral by 2030. All right.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Yeah. We can cross fingers.
Finger crossed.
It is for the moment the plan isn't there, but we hope to.
Literally, definitely they have a plan. We don't know the commitment, definitely, but that's a commitment. So that's so half of the carbon impact on Mayyan is dedicated by Microsoft's responsibility. Okay. So we can definitely ask them for commitment. So there is another part that we cannot really that we don't understand now is the impact of blockchain on environmental question and problem. We don't know the reputation of blockchain in environment, but we will definitely ask some question on that point. All right. But then, people using Mayyan more and more using search and other stuff. That's a Microsoft commitment, but we have to work on it because you were talking about how indexation algorithm. The thing is, we can definitely build our own data center and saying, okay, those data center are using solar system to computation, but we don't really know how it works for now. So that's a very good question, and I will definitely. That's my part of the question. I don't know if Nadia would like to add more of this, but let me know.
Yeah. So first of all, I would say you also have to pick your battles, and when you do it, right? So carbon footprint is hard. Just to give you an example, I'm in Switzerland right now, and I heard that like oats, like consuming oats grown in Switzerland is actually more carbon intensive than importing ones from abroad. Why? Because the size of the fields in Switzerland is smaller and the tractors are much bigger. And so if you calculate the emissions spent when the tractors go around, it's a ridiculously hard problem. A lot of organizations will say, well, we're carbon neutral. And then they're just, offsetting, which is honestly shit. And everybody who's in the space knows it at this point. That's like, greenwashing on crack, basically. I think our approach is really, we're going to focus on care, on healthcare, and specifically getting medication, high quality medication to people who can't access it otherwise. And then, we're going to have to try and reduce our carbon footprint as much as possible. At a personal level, this for me means things like never ever flying. It means things like, just managing how you go about living and working is where we can have a direct impact, and being humble about not bragging about shit that there's no way we could do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very clear. Thanks for this answer. And if you allow me, I would like to also take another question in chat, a bit polemical. The D-Job Steven is a bit skeptical about the impact driven, and I think that you're completely able to answer. It's always interesting to debate on this. But
I can answer this, and
yeah, answer
what I
this.
can what I can
Perfect.
say is you're very right. You're absolutely right. Yes, they are a big part of the problem, and I mean, I can't even. Oh my God, it's so bad. Now, one of the reasons why this is the case is because many of them depend on institutional money that is tied to governments. And this means that in order for governments to spend the money, there's a lot of bullshitting on paper that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And there's an incentive to also align activities so that they serve the funding and not necessarily solving the problem. The money is also inefficiently used because it can't be used to make cash payments, to get someone a tent where it's needed. It's just mismatched with how things are done in real life.
No.
In our case, we're not dependent on institutional money. And this means that, and we're not a government, which means that we have much freer hands. 1, 2, there's a lot of work that needs to happen on the ground. And one of them is making sure that you have solid networks of people who are there. And people know which NGOs are bullshit and which ones are actually doing a good job, So yes, it's a problem. And yes, you can mitigate it by having a funding model that doesn't constrain you to do things the way they're being done right now.
Okay, great answer, and thanks for this. I think it can be an inspiration to think about this question more global way, because it's the same problem everywhere. In fact, I think we can find this problem in many institutions, many different regions of the world. So thanks for this answer, Nadia. Really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, a question. Really easier question. When can I set Mayyan
That's
as
fish.
my default browser?
Hi, fish. Now it's done. We've deployed the new version of Mayyan. So yeah, you can now set Mayyan as a default browser on iOS and Android. So basically, if you have the application on your phone, you go to setting, you go to Mayyan application, and then you will see Siri and search, and then you choose Mayyan. And in this list, when I saw the list, I was like, "Whoa!"
I can
Yep.
find it. Yeah, it's right.
Yeah. When I saw the list on Siri and search, there is only Brave, Ecosia, DuckDuckGo, and I think there is Google only. And I was like, "Wow, we are part of the 5th. That's crazy."
Yeah.
So now you can set up this Mayyan as a
Okay,
default browser on
so
iOS. It's live. Yeah.
I can open and I can go to my settings and
Yeah, you will have the
Easy.
great
it.
onboarding session and stuff like that. Great.
Wow.
Really easy.
Okay. I do this after. Or I will stop the aiming now. No. Okay. So great. Hope Fish, you can set up this now.
Yeah.
And show.
We have a simple question asked by Drake on the difference between search engine and browsers. Could you please clarify the difference between both and explain to the chat and to the community?
Definitely. So actually, that's funny because the main search on Google, so the first search was navigateur de recherche, so browser of search engine, which is literally not possible. But everyone asking what is the difference between a browser and a search engine. So if I'm taking an example, Microsoft Edge is the browser. So it's the interface on top of the search engine. So the fact that you can add favorites on your page, the fact that you can connect your account on the page, the fact that you can accept your micro and the videos to be accepted and enabled on the browser, that's a browser, all right? And the search engine is only the toolbar that you have, the search bar that you have in the middle. and where you are able to just farm the result that you want. That's it. So the search engine is only the small bar in the middle, but the search bar without the browser doesn't exist. So Brave was a browser that they released their own search engine. So they got both of them. By the way, for example, Mozilla don't have any search engine. You have to use Google in the middle, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Pretty clear definition.
Firefox is a browser, and we use Google or anything else.
Exactly, most of the time.
Yeah. Oh, it's clear. I hope, Drake, it's clear. Please feel free to. Well, maybe we can detail this in French. So I know that Drake speaks French also after. Okay, so perfect. And I think that for the English session, I will take these two last questions we just had.
Business model. So this is the main part of this MA.
What did you say? Just sorry, I did a.
Oh, yeah. We have two questions about the business model and the business plan. So basically, what are you going to focus on? So what percentage of the market do you plan to get over, and stuff like that? So do you have any numbers to share at the moment about your market, about your plan, about your business model, stuff like that?
Yes.
You can answer only in a few sentences, and no need to detail it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's okay when you look at it. So there is two things. First thing, I will detail our persona. So people that are using Mayyan. There's three types of people using Mayyan. First is people that want to have an impact in the world. That is the first thing. Second persona is African diaspora in the United States and Europe. All right. And third persona is African people in Africa. All right. So in Africa, there is 600 million people with a smartphone. So with an access to internet. All right. So this is 600 million that we can transfer from Google to Mayyan. That could give you kind of number that we can have on Mayyan. Just to give you an example, Ecosia is 10 million people each month. All right. Generating 2 or 3 million each month. All right. We got an addressable market in Africa. First thing is 600 million. I'm just talking about United States and Europe for now, but I will. So our focus is 60% in Africa. All right. We got 20% in Europe and 20% in United States. In United States, the ad market is very mature. In Europe, same. So as we got ads coming from Microsoft on the search engine, there is all around, I think, 40 million African diaspora into United States, right? Which is give you an addressable market that we can have. And in Europe, it's about 5 or 10 million around this one, this number. So yes, that give you kind of number that we can address in the world.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a huge market indeed. Yeah.
It's a huge one. I can definitely take part of it. Definitely.
Okay. I hope so. Yeah. Okay. So maybe we can conclude this AMA on this question and on the question of lettering about the voting process. So basically, the voting process is about to start on the 2nd of June. Do you have any comments? Do you have any suggestions? Why should we vote for Mayyan?
Oh, I mean, I hope I've asked all your questions.
Yeah.
Because I'm humble. First of all, I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. I think so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this one. But yeah, we got a solid team. We got very big news coming up. And I think that when I'm looking the use case that we can employ in the blockchain side, I mean, there is no use cases seen in the blockchain environment since a long time. And yes, I think we got a very good mission, a very good team, a very good vision on what's going on the market and what we want to achieve. And I really think that the communities and decentralized community can help on this and help us achieve our goal. That's the thing. So that's my answer. I don't know if someone else wants to add something, but that's my vision on this.
Okay, so my answer would be that there are a lot of there are a lot of projects that are making quite tall claims about being able to solve something that is the result of political, socioeconomic, environmental issues, right? And they think that, oh, we're going to just put blockchain in there and it's going to solve everything. And that's not where we're coming from. Our approach towards funding impact is making resources available to an ecosystem of different actors that together can help solve a messy problem. And I would say that's very different from how a lot of the tech scene thinks about achieving impact, right? This is where we are. So there are a lot of projects that are, oh, plant trees, or, you know, something simple. And there are very simple answers that very often are wrong.
Yeah, that's completely true. And I just agree. I can't agree more with you, Nadia. It's thanks for saying this. Today in blockchain, for these who are hearing us, but you can find so many projects that are telling you that they are providing carbon neutral for the blockchain, or providing solution. In fact, they are just offsetting the impact, planting trees basis. And clearly we did the math some weeks ago, but there is not enough land on Earth to plant enough trees to offset all the carbon emissions of the world. So that's not a solution. I calculate that we would need 4 Earth planets to plant enough trees to in 40 years offset all the carbon emissions of today, whereas the chart is raising and
Amazing
everything.
numbers.
So
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, just doing a small calculus of all the land available on Earth and planting trees every 2 meters, I was calculating. And no, there is not enough land on Earth to offset everything. So this is not the solution. And so thanks for saying this. And I think that we have to remind this every day, seeing the project that we can say today, especially on blockchain. So thanks for what you are doing. And I think that we can end on this, the English session, and we'll just switch on the French session just after. Thanks for your answers, both of you, for being with us in English. Hope you liked it, and hope the audience liked this also. You have Nadia, you have a
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah. Yeah, you have many thanks from the community.
Thank
Hope you like this.
It was very good, very nice.
And thank you for all the questions. It's really, really, really helpful.
Yeah.
You know, this is under development, and it's really, I really appreciate that you guys took the time, you know, gave us the gift of your time and attention. It's really valuable.
Yeah, and this is recorded and we will publish it in YouTube, and it's always a good content to share, because the question, I think, that are often the same ones. So that's great that we answered so many questions for the next ones that will want to discover Mayyan. So thanks for this session. I will